how the promise of a free burrito would be all that it took to open up our networks to virtual crooks. You said you would be careful, read every email with a fine-tooth comb, but you totally didn't. And now they're stringing up our CTO. Oh, I pray we've got good backups, but you know we probably don't. I was gonna take tomorrow off, but now I probably won't, because we're all crypto lockered thanks to you, thanks to you. We're running around like circus clowns, screaming, what are we gonna do? We're all crypto lockered thanks to you, thanks to you. We're gonna make you pay for this, because you cursed us with a certain doom. Gonna take your computer and then replace it with a Microsoft Zoom. Yeah, the IT team is crying while they're facing their worst fears. And you can pick the soundtrack to go with their tears. Your coworkers are furious, cursing your name with a red-hot hate, but they'll deal with you later when all our data gets restored from tape. Maybe then you'll be more careful with the hyperlinks you click. And everyone who works here will not think you're such a jerk, because we're all crypto lockered thanks to you, thanks to you. We're running around like circus clowns, screaming, what are we gonna do? We're all crypto locker thanks to you, thanks to you. Now we're wishing that we checked our backup job integrity. 'Cause it hasn't finished once since June of '93. We're all crypto locker thanks to you, thanks to you. Running around like circus clowns, screaming, what are we gonna do? We are all crypto locker thanks to you, thanks to you. Our resources are tapped, our resources are straining. Next time don't call in sick or find some way to miss security awareness training. Yeah. All totally screwed thanks to you, thanks to you. You know security is hard, so let's assume we're probably gonna get pwned by noon. But if we all start to get the basics right, we might not fully get pwned until tonight.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. How are you? I was just enjoying some of the commentary here in the channel about this song. Let me just make sure. Oh, echo. Sorry, that's me. Yeah, I hopefully enjoyed a little bit of that Crypto Locker song. That's from 2018, and there was a security conference that asked us to do I don't even know. I don't even remember how you pronounce it. Pachacucha. It's that link that I put in the chat there. And I think you had like 6 or 7 minutes to put together something to express. I can't remember exactly what the rules are, but go to the website. I don't know if this is like a thing that's done a lot or still is, but that's what that was from. And it hasn't exactly opened up the window to create, 7MS, the entertainment brand, but I hope maybe someday it will. In the meantime, how are you? Welcome to How to Build a Vulnerable Pen Test Lab Part 4. Oh my gosh, this has been so much fun. We've gotten a lot of good feedback about this as people head into their own infrastructure to build a pen test lab to, learn new things. And ideally, you do that kind of learning there and not on the corporate network, right? Right. So today I just have a couple things that I want to show. Actually, we'll do the news and shameless promos real quick. I got a couple new sort of sub new things to show you. And then where I kind of left last week or 2 weeks ago in part 3 was I was showing you how I, with the help of my pal Jeff McJunkin, who I don't think watches these, but Jeff, hello, you're awesome. Jeff helped me get Impacket going in Windows. And if you don't know about Impacket is a is a bundle full of tools you can get on GitHub that run really slick in Linux, and they do things like pass the hash attacks and relay attacks, that kind of stuff. But I had never really successfully gotten it going in Windows. And where we kind of left off in part 3 is I showed you the different components that need to come together in a perfect storm on a Windows machine to make Impacket work properly. But I didn't actually get to show that in action. So I want to show that to you. And then we'll take a quick break, hear from today's sponsor, which is, I think, our good friends over at safepass.me. And then I want to tempt the demo gods and try live a couple of additional attacks with multi-relay that I have a feeling may not work as advertised in Windows, but it's just to satisfy my curiosity. And or maybe one of you will go, oh, I've got it working in Windows, and you'll type in the chat how to make everything work, and we'll all learn something, and we'll all be better people for it. And hello, Tim. Good to see you. So I think that's it. We're just going to kind of take it easy today. I may sit down at some point because I'm going to admit to you that well, if it's not obvious, I feel like an old man. And I was at a retreat this weekend, like a father-son retreat with my oldest. And it was up at this church camp up north. And we did, I mean, I try to hit the Peloton. I try to be sort of healthier than I was in my earlier years. But we played more ping pong and more basketball over the course of 48 hours than I probably have in my life. And we are Thursday? So we're 4 days past when I got back, and I can still barely walk. So if I buckle at the knees and fall over, please call help. Call the authorities, call the ambulance. So that's what we're doing. Okay. Alrighty then. Here's the shameless promos real quick. You are on our weekly live stream, but if you're like, hey, do you do this every week and you didn't know? Well, yeah, we do it every week. So please come and join us. 7minsec.com/live has all the upcoming and past topics that we've covered. Please, if you're in the Minnesota area or want to be, next Wednesday, May 10th, I'll be at the Secure 360 conference right across town at the, whatchamacallit, don't tell me. It's the place where gambling happens. That's called a casino. That's called Mystic Lake Casino is where this is happening. And I've got to talk right at the end of the day on the last day of the conference. That could be a really bad thing. It could just be me, some crickets, and a garbage can. But either way, I'm going to talk about simple ways to test your SIM, and I think that'll be fun. So please stop by and say hi if you're there. What else here? Oh, kind of a new thing a little bit on the 7minsec ebook. So that's at ebook.7minsec.com. It's a $7.77 step-by-step playbook internal pen testing guide. And if you buy it once, you get future versions forever. We are on version 1.1, but in the background, I've got a whole bunch of stuff going into 1.2. And because I got so many things just emailed and slacked and DM'd to me, what I decided to do is just make a GitHub repo here off my 7MinSec user called ebook. And I am putting in all the things that people send in to me. So if you have the ebook or you get it at some point and you're like, oop, typo alert, or boy, I'd really like to have, for example, a lot of people asking about bake in some Active Directory certificate services vulnerabilities. That is, that's on my list. A lot of this stuff I'm drafting up in the background, but I figure that's an easier way for me to track things than the different, channels that I get pinged on. So please, just wanted to make you aware of that in case you want a topic covered, and then I feel more organized and less scatterbrained. So check that out. And then coming up in July is our next Light Pentest Light training. So that's a 3-day, 4 hours per day. I give you a lab machine to remote into. It's joined to a domain, and we go through a lot of stuff that we cover in the ebook, but beyond as well. And it's 12 hours of just hacking things to pieces and doing local privilege escalation and domain escalation and dumping hashes and cracking hashes and passing hashes and attacking SQL. There's some new stuff coming up for those of you who have either those of you that are signed up for May or July. You get to have the new stuff. We're on V2 right now, and the beta testers will complete all of their bug squashing by next week, and then we'll be ready to go for that, for version 2 for the May class and forward. So you're welcome to check that out. And without further ado, just do it. So let's just do it. And I'm going to remote right in here to my lab joined machine, and just going to catch us up a little bit on kind of how we got to this point. And hello, DF. Good to see you. Let's see. Let me first. Okay, let me back up, walk into this stuff that I'm going to show you a little bit. So on Pentests, that's a good place to start. On Pentests, one of the common and favorite things to do is capture and or relay hashes. There's a multitude of ways to do that. What we did in the last webinar or two is we abused SQL, a vulnerable SQL server, and we coaxed it into sending us a high privileged user and that user's hash. Okay, so armed with that information, we can either go off to Hashcat or put it in the cloud, try to crack the plain text of that hash, or we might be able to pass it. All the stuff I'm going to show you, I typically do in Linux, but because I was building all this for the Light Pentest Light class, let's do a Windows flavor of all this and go through the whole steps. Let's find hosts that we could relay this hash to, and then let's actually do the relaying. So I'm going to do, as I go through this, I'll kind of say what I typically do and use, and then we'll do it all in Windows. But when I'm on a pen test, I do almost all of this on the Linux and Kali side of the house. So I like in the responder toolkit, if you grab that guy, and I'm just going to go to it real quick, responder. I like that. What always comes up is the old version that's not maintained anymore. And sometimes, and then I like that the second result is the responder for Windows, which actually I guess I could have used for part of this lab, but I don't know that I've ever tried it. But let me not tangent myself too much. In regular old responder, there is a tools subfolder, and then there's this little guy here called run finger. I like to run that in Linux and set it to target a subnet. And what run finger will return to you is all the hosts and actually a bunch of information. It'll tell you like operating system. It'll tell you, I think, if SMB1 is enabled or not, and then it'll tell you if signing is enabled or not. But what has been brought to my attention many, many times, but I rarely do or rarely use, is people are like, hey, Brian, you love CrackMapExec so much. Why don't you marry it? Actually, nobody said that, but they said, you like CrackMapExec so much, why don't you use it to find hosts on your network that have SMB signing disabled. So let's do that. Let's see what that looks like if you've not seen it before. I was going through some of the old videos and thought the fonts looked kind of small, so I'm going to crank it up to old guy size here. By the way, really seriously, one person was asking for this, but I want to let that one person know. I have made a task now to go back to all the YouTube videos and put in chapter markings for things, because I know I go off topic and I look at the time and go, oh, well, that was a 10-minute story about, my kids. Let's get back on the rails. I've gone through, and I think I've got about half chaptered, half not, but I hope to, by the end of this month, get them all chapter sized. So it's a little easier to skip the tangents and get right to the goods. So I think I've got Python pre-installed. Yes. And I think I've got CME right in the root of Pentest tools. So let me just fire this up. Let me make sure CME just runs okay. And then, oh dear. Oh, well, I'm glad this came up. This might have happened before in our live streams here, but actually that's fine. I'm glad it happened again. So this might happen to you if you try to run CrackMapExec in Windows, which, by the way, I always want to just don't want to make assumptions that, I just can't tell you in my security career how many YouTube videos I've watched where I go to answer one question, but I'm missing like 6 steps of context to figure out how they got to where they got. So I just want to always cover it all so everybody's on the same page. But in the CrackMapExec repo, under releases here, there are, if we scroll down here, there's direct downloadables for different versions of operating systems. So if you find, for example, I think what I got was this one, the CME for Windows, download that zip, open it up, and then what you would have is, what I have here is just the binary, just sitting here. Okay. But we ran it, and as you can see, my computer took an absolute dump, and you know what really didn't like us doing that was our friend Defender. So if I look at protection history, it's like, hey, dude, didn't like what you did here, and I quarantined some files. And this took me a while to figure out, but if I just would have RTFM'd or RTFW'd, I guess, read the farming warning, I would have seen that in the process of running CrackMapExec, some files get dropped to C user student 1 shiv that Defender has partially or fully tucked aside or eaten up. So I'm going to do 2 things. I am going to, whoops, I'm already in here. No need to open Defender. Here's a free tip for you. No need to open Defender if it's already open. Okay, so let's just turn Defender off so it can just, shh, you take a little nappy. Yes, I know. I turned protection off, and I'm okay with that. So you can turn Defender off, but look at this. That doesn't help you. If you go to run Python again, CME again, it's like, I am badly broken. Need help, please. So go to users, your user .shiv folder. And here's some remnants of CrackMapExec that I think are just like crippled and need to be recreated. So we'll delete those out of there. Oh, that's a lot of stuff, actually. Clean up this folder. And now go for take 3. I think, fingers crossed, that'll run for us. But, and we've probably run into this as well. But I think it's good to re-articulate this fix. Notice how the output is not very pretty, especially up here. All these left arrows and brackets and 1Ms, and that's not great. This is right in our teaching curriculum because we run into it often. But there is a little reg fix that we need to put in place. That prettifies, and that's a word that may or may not exist, but it prettifies the Windows console output so that CrackMapExec is easier to read. And if you need any of this stuff, you know, just drop me a, you know, come on our Slack or drop me an email on 7minsec.com and I'll get all this note stuff to you. But let me run this to fix reg. Reg.py. Oh, okay. Well, this is good. Hey, all we're having is problems today, but these are good because solving problems with computers is fun, right? I think this was pointed out in our lab from our lab beta testers where the install of Python has hijacked the Windows path such that reg.py, let me look right here in our Python scripts. Oh, there's a reg.py. And when I type reg, that's getting processed first. Yeah, reg is part of Impacket Toolkit. So I think what we need to do, let me see, was it environment path? There we go. And talk about, I never like to tempt the demo gods. And I've come full the other way where it's like, everything is broken. Let's try to fix it on the fly. But here's what I think we need to do. I think my path is screwed up so that Python 3 scripts is looked at first before System32, which is what I want it to be. Oh, Jim asks, can't you just do reg.exe? Maybe. Well, let's, why not both? Reg.exe. Okay. All right. Thank you, Jim. That's probably easier. That will make a quicker fix in my curriculum notes, actually, because I was thinking I'd have to, well, I'll probably do both. But anyway, let me see if this works as well. I'm going to move System32 to the tippity top. I'm going to say, yay, yay, yes. I'm pretty sure that doesn't take effect till I spin up a new window. So let's do a take two on the command prompt and see what we see. So now if I do reg, okay, so Jim's got a great fix. That's probably easier. Otherwise, the system-wide fix, I think, would be what I just did, which is just move Windows System32 to the top of the preferred list. So what the heck were we doing? Oh, we were prettifying the console. And this is another thing that once I do that reg add command, I think, I don't know that takes effect until I get another new command window. Yeah, okay, so it's ugly again. Blech. Okay, so let's do take 12 of getting this to run. I love computers. Come on, pray to the god of skinny punks. Yes. Okay, there we go. So there was a 15-minute detour of just getting CrackMapExec to run, but I think there's value. Hopefully you do too. There's just value in seeing some of these hiccups. And I do in the class, I do want students to at least bang their heads a little bit into the joys and trials and tribulations of, you know, playing with open source tools or any tool. So it looks good now. CrackMapExec is running. It's not getting eaten by Defender, and it's got pretty colors and not funky symbols. So back to the original train that I just derailed, which is how can you use CrackMapExec to find all the hosts that have SMB disabled? Because if they have SMB disabled, we can potentially relay credentials to them and do evil things like dump out all their local usernames and hashes. So here's one way we can do that. Let's do Python CME. We're going to do SMB, and I'm going to put in scope my whole subnet because I'm just here on one single lowly 10.0.7x network. Okay, so I'm going to do an SMB connection to everything, every host in that subnet, and I'm going to do I'm going to feed it a credential, student 1. My password, sorry, I'm not very mature when I set up accounts for the first time in a lab, so don't judge me about my password being fart face. That was what I used to call my sister, but don't tell her that. Well, she knows that I used to call her that, but she doesn't watch these webinars, so she's not here to defend herself, but she was kind of a fart face. And kind of still is. Anyway, username and a password and TAC relay list, and then the file you want to spit out that information to. So create a file that details every host that has SMB signing disabled. I'll just call it, SMBSigningtxt. And then we let her rip. And I'm, yeah. I was like, why am I admin everywhere? I had elevated myself to DA before we did this, just to make certain things easier, like shutting off Defender. All right. And that may take a little bit to go. All right. Now, hopefully what we've got is, there it is. Okay. So here are all of our IPs that we hit that have SMB signing disabled. So I guess, and if there's a better way to do this with CrackMapExec, let me know. But I guess what I don't love about this output as much as I do RunFinger from the responder toolkit is that RunFinger will give me the full system name and again, SMB signing status and that kind of stuff. But I like having the system name over the IP because if I'm kind of blind in a network, that system name might help me decide what's a more valuable system to target, right? So if it's called, file 01 or something, I'm going to definitely want to target that one. If it's like the mail server, things like that. But with this, I might have to do some pinging and DNS lookups and that sort of thing to really figure out what my most valuable targets are. But for the sake of this and saving a little bit of time, let's just pretend that I've already figured out that that one of my more valuable hosts is let me pick the IT server. So that is T1. Okay, so that is 7.103, and that should be in our list. Yeah. Okay. So let's say the IT server is particularly interesting to me because I know that the IT admins use it. There's probably juicy files on there, and so I go, yes, that is a system I'd like to relay to. So let's stage this up, and this is kind of a 3-step. Well, there's many ways to do it, I'm sure, right? But the way I kind of went through it, and my pal Jeff showed me, is a 3-step process. So in one window, what I'm going to get going is, and I'll get this tool copied to you in the chat here, LSA Relay X. Let me give you that so you've got it. Okay, there's that. And hello, I'm sorry, I'm not going to slaughter it. K-I-K-I-M. Hello. Thanks for hanging out with us. Okay, you can read about this, but I think what it talks about, it's got two pieces to it, an EXE and then a DLL. In my mind, what this does is some kung fu in order to, maybe using the word inject isn't the right word, but it's able to set up that SMB listener to do relays off of. On a Linux box, it's a lot easier to just run NTLM relay straight up because it happily will serve up malicious things on SMB. But understandably, on the Windows side, SMB is pretty critical to what it does, and so it doesn't want you, setting up listeners. But my pal Jeff figured out, yes, it works fine if you kick this whole attack off with LSA Relay X. So that is what I'm going to do. Do LSA Relay X, and then host, I'm going to set to local host. Okay, good. So that's running. Just a little word to the wise, run, I think all 3 steps that I'm going to show you, or at least 2 of them, run them as a privileged command prompt. Otherwise, this part will fail. You'll get weird errors and red text of death. Okay, so LSA Relay X is sitting there waiting for NTLM connections. Now in a new command prompt box. Let's try to size this so we can kind of watch all three things at once. Okay, okay, so here we'll do the actual, we'll get NTLM Relay X going. Public tools. No, yes. No, yes. Okay, we're going to do Python, NTLM. Nope, we're going to go into scripts. Let me try that. Python, NTLM, Relay X. Okay, I'm going to turn on SMB2 support with this flag. Support. I am going to turn the SMB server off. Okay, because this is serving that role. Okay. And then I'm going to pick my victim to relay 2. So I'm going to do TT-IT01. So essentially I'm saying, all right, if an incoming authentication hits my box, let's relay it over to TT-IT01. And by default, what this attack will do, if I relay a privileged credential to TT-IT01, by default, it will dump out the local users and hashes of that system. Okay. So I think that's fine. See if that all looks good. It does. And now this next part, I'm not going to go over in great detail because we covered it either last week or the week before. This last piece is triggering the actual authentication itself. So in a week or two ago, I showed you how you could create a vulnerable SQL server that allowed us to fire off a stored procedure that would make that SQL server try to authenticate to us. So I covered the setup and kind of how to get that all enumerated and attacked. I'm just going to go right for the coaxing of the authentication conversation itself in window number 3. Okay. All right. See if we can squinch this down here. See all these things happen at once, ideally. Okay, that's looking fairly readable, I think. So I'm going to go to our friend PowerUpSQL, and I'm going to import module power. Oh, need to be in PowerShell for that, of course. Yeah. One. Okay, there we go. This is just as an FYI. Here's another one where if Defender was still open, from my experience, once you try to import PowerUp .psd1, Defender will gripe and it'll look like you're still running PowerUpSQL, but from my experience, like the functions, like right now, if I type invoke SQL something, that won't work, and you're just left with sort of what appears to be working but isn't PowerUpSQL. So if that's the case, what I found that works really well, exit PowerShell, go to Defender, switch it to off, then come back into PowerShell and run the import, and then it should not set off any warnings, and then your PowerUpSQL should work as advertised. Okay, so again, I'm going to skip past the how do we use PowerUpSQL to find vulnerable SQL servers. I'm just going right for the throat here and going to do an attack that is going to try to log into the SQL server, ask it to try to authenticate to me. If everything works as it should, knock on my desk. The credential of a high privilege user should come into me, my system, and I relay it off to IT01 and dump all the hashes for the local users of that system. So let's do it. That's going to be SQL UNC Path Injection. Turn up verbosity so we can see what's going on. And then we also need to say our capture IP. And I am pretty sure I'm .11. Yeah, 10.0.7. 10.0.7.11. Okay, and again, in window 1, we've got the kind of the relay trap itself. Oh, I'll talk about this in a second, but we've got the kind of like the relayer itself. We've got NTLM relay facilitating what the attack is going to be, and now we're going to trigger it. The reason you just saw from TT, let's see, does it show received? Okay, well, wait, maybe here it shows what this is from. Maybe not. But on the app server, there is a user logged in called Beverly that is set up to try to browse to hosts that don't exist in order to trigger a poisonable request. So you're seeing her right now, but she doesn't do us any good because she's not a domain admin. However, the SQL server is running as a domain admin. So let's see what happens. Brian, don't you have confidence that this will actually work live? Well, no, I don't. Because in real life pen testing, a lot of times things don't work right. And because you fat finger one command or the computers are crabby. Okay, here it is. And trying to inject a UNC path, trying to abuse those stored procedures and get this SQL server to talk to us. Okay, and now it's just hanging there, and I don't like that. But wait for it. Okay. Okay. Oh, pipe disconnection. Oh, okay. Well, part of it. Okay. Well, it got. Oh, goodness gracious! So much stuff happening. The DB admin. That's the domain admin account, but the relay piece didn't appear to work. Let me let's see. Let me kill this. Try PITO. Okay, let me try that. Let me try this one more time. Yeah. Okay. So the thing is, I mean, it shouldn't matter, but Beverly's account comes along as a poisonable request that also tries to get relayed. Let me see. Oh, there we go. There we go. There we go. There we go. Okay. So I'll kill this. Go back up here and just see our strike. Okay, there was Beverly. Okay, so SMB. Okay, authenticating against SMB TTITO1 as Beverly. It did succeed, but where you see this access denied, that essentially means in this case, Beverly's not a domain admin. We're not able to do the local hash dump. But, okay, received connection, attacking TTITO1, authenticating as DB admin, who is a domain admin. That succeeded, and then the attack itself kicked off. So the remote registry was turned on, and here come those delicious local admin hashes, which we can now capture with, CrackMapExec, and relay those to other systems to authenticate to them. So if you've got, an environment that has a uniform local admin credential, like let's just say every system uses local administrator called administrator and the same password. Well, now we can just pass this hash around to every system and be local admin. It's so wonderful. But what I want to try, just since we were on this topic, let's take a quick break and hear from our sponsor. But I want to do another attack here, basically a rinse and repeat of what we just did. But I want to show you how you can queue up a text file full of targets. So instead of just targeting one system like TTITO1, you could target a whole list of victims and have one relay execute some sort of attack on multiple systems. It works awesome in Linux. I don't know if it's going to work well in Windows, but I thought, what the heck? Well, why not try it? Yeah? Okay. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Check out this word from our buddies at safepass.me. Today's episode of the 7-Minute Security Podcast is brought to us by safepass.me. SafePass.me is the most efficient and cost-effective solution to prevent Active Directory users from setting a weak or compromised password. It's in compliance with the latest NIST password guidelines, and it's the only enterprise solution to protect organizations against credential stuffing and password spraying attacks. And boy, do we love SafePass.me. It's super easy to use. You just download this MSI file to your domain controllers, you run it, you reboot the domain controllers, and boom, just like that, you will be actively preventing your users from picking millions and millions of known weak, leaked, breached passwords. It really is that easy. And I think one of my favorite parts is that SafePass.me includes a custom word list that you can use as well. So if you don't want people to be able to pick company name 2022, company name 2023, you can do that with the built-in safepass.me word list. But beyond that, that's about how quick you can get it up and running. So next time Active Directory users get prompted to change a password, they type in the new password they want to use, and if it's on the block list, boom, they'll be told they have to pick something else. It's really awesome. We invite you to check out more at safepass.me, and don't forget to tell them that 7-Minute Security sent you, and you'll get a 10% discount. Again, that is safepass.me. Okie doke. So the discussion in the chat was about kind of protections you could put against this, and if there's any sort of MFA type of protection for SMB. Definitely worth mentioning that this particular attack could be thwarted by enabling SMB signing on your Windows hosts. So SMB signing is something that gets turned on. If you just set up your domain and set up your machines with like out of the box configs, the domain controllers will have SMB signing enabled, but everything else has it off unless you explicitly turn it on with group policy. And it's not too hard to do either. It's just not on in most environments. But that would I like to think of the SMB signing as a bit of an integrity check with SMB, so that, for example, if TTIT01 would have had SMB signing enabled, then when I did that relay trick, TTIT01 would have been able to see that inbound information and go, this has been tampered with, so we're just going to drop this. This is not going to fire on this system. But last thing I want to just kind of test live here is doing a relay attack to multiple hosts. So if I go back to that file we pulled up, actually I think I have to do this by host name, but let's just say, let me do it this way. I'm going to go to just to make it easier for myself, I'm going to go to the Python scripts folder. I'm going to make a file called targets.txt. And let's just say I wanted to set up a relay such that I would get that inbound communication once, but relay it to multiple targets. I can put in, for example, TT, let's do let's do Devo1, and let's do desktop 2, and let's do desktop 7. Okay, to again do a multi-relay type attack, and we'll see how this goes. So then the only thing I have to do to change my syntax here is, instead of attack T and one single host, I'm gonna say TF for target file. I'm going to specify the name of my target file that I just made. Okay. Other than that, same as before. And I just want to see, how this goes. Okay, there we go. Running in relay mode, 2 hosts in target file. All right. That seems encouraging. Let's see if it is encouraging. So what I should see is the relay happen. I should get a dump of local users and hashes for 3 hosts this time. Okay, there goes Beverly's cred. We don't care about that. Here should come our DB admin. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so it went to, okay, Beverly was ignored. TT-DTO2, it did fire. There's local users and hashes for TT-DTO2. But then it seems to just have died. Now, was that my first host in the list? Oh, that was actually my second host in the list. That's interesting. And, oh, okay, no, there's Beverly again. Huh. I just want to see one more time real quick what happens. That doesn't make any sense to me that I would think it would process, first line, then second line, then third line. Let me just go one more time. I want to see if it gets the same host or if it just kind of got, okay. Yeah. So it did number 2 again. Huh. Okay. It's very possible that that's problem between this user and this keyboard. I'll have to play with that some more, but that's how that gets set up. Okay. Just to show that again, here's the key thing. Set up a list full of targets, specify it with TF. I've done this, many times on the Linux side, and it's just worked like a champ. And where this is particularly helpful, oh my gosh, where this has saved my butt in I don't know how many pen tests is sometimes we'll be in a pen test where there's little to play with except once a day, something like a Nessus scanner or inventory system will come along and do an SMB sweep of every subnet. And when that happens once a day, we want to be positioned like we are now to, catch and or relay that communication. So if you've only got one shot per day to make that happen, it would be a really good idea to know what your most high value targets are, put them in this targets file, right? And then when your relay fires, hopefully you get some goods out of those targets. Especially helpful if they have something like laps where all the admin creds are unique. You could then, with an attack like this, grab the unique cred for multiple targets and then be able to use that to like PowerShell remote in or maybe RDP in or crack the plain text, password. Maybe not likely if they use laps, but you want to make that once per day juice worth the squeeze, if that makes sense. Oh, you know what? Let me show you. We just have a few more minutes. Let me show you one more that I don't know if this is going to work with Windows, but another way to use NTLM Relay that's awesome is well, I'll use my targets.txt again. But to then add socks at the end here, socks proxy. So what this will do, if it works in Windows, I think it should, but this would do a relay and then leave like a socks connection open to a victim or victims so that you could use something like proxy chains. Oh yeah, I don't know how I'm going to get this to work in Windows, but let's just try it and just talk through it since we're finishing up for the day. You do your relay attack the way we did before, but it creates a socks connection, leaves it open, and then you can use proxy chains or other proxying tools to run things like secrets dump, nmap, whatever you want. But you proxy it through that system with the socks connection established. It may be better seen than heard. Let me start it and see. Okay. More processing required. Yeah, I don't know if this is gonna, well, I'll try it. What the heck? Okay, it says nothing available. let's just trigger that SQL stored procedure again. And, okay. Oh, that's cool. Well, there's Beverly. Beverly's account was relayed to DTO2, and it says, enjoy your socks connection. Let me see if I get another one. It'd be nice to get that DB admin, since that's a domain admin. Authenticating against Devo1 as DB admin failed. Okay. That I don't know how to account for. But okay. Well, at least you can see what this looks like. Okay. So I've got a socks connection that was relayed from Beverly. I'm just going to run this again. Notice it says admin status false, so we're not going to be able to do much here. But we've got a connection open to DTO2 and DTO7. And if we were on Linux, again, we could use with these connections that are open. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm just wishful thinking. Admin. Oh, it might still be going. Oh. Yeah, based on the output, I think I've created some daemons. But you leave those connections open, right? And then you can proxy other Impacket tools through them and create. You can establish an SMB shell. You can dump stuff out via secrets dump. It really is cool. But based on what I'm seeing so far, I don't know that I would highly recommend getting that Ninja level on Windows. I think you're going to have a lot better luck in doing that with the Linux flavor of things. So that is all I wanted to show you today. Hopefully somebody thought that was helpful. Let me just see if there are any other questions that came in. Someone had pinged, can you show this on the Linux side? Maybe on a, I don't have that ready to, I don't think I've got a Linux box handy on this subnet to do, but if that's something you'd like to see in a future live stream, let me know. Well, it sounds like you do want to see it, so I'll add it to the future topics list. And then on that note, just as a quick reminder, we do at 7 Minute Security, we do risk assessments, pen testing training. We've got a bunch of links here for things you can check out. 7ms.us is kind of the main hub for the podcast, which comes out every Friday in audio form. And then, of course, the YouTube channel you're probably already aware of. Trying to be better at socials, but whoops. Oh, end of show. Okay, bye. But also as a quick reminder, if you're looking for a way to support, this kind of side of the media things, we do have a Patreon set up for $7 a month. What the smart business people told me to say is that I don't know what 7 times 12 is, but that is, if you're working for a security consultancy, and let's say the information you learned from 7MS has saved you, 1 hour of consulting time or something like that. Okay, I'm slaughtering it, but they try to make me propose something that makes sense for the cost of supporting us for a year Patreon. But you know what? Click the things and support if you want to, and I would appreciate it. And if not, that's fine too. Okay. But I really appreciate you hanging out and hacking some stuff with me. And just like that user asked about seeing some tools, seeing the same attack on the Linux side. If you've got your own topic ideas, something that you think would make a fun live stream, just reach out on one of these things. And let me know. People are sending cool ideas all the time. And typically whatever gets the most interest is what rises to the top in my mind. But I want to, cover things that are helpful to folks. So, all right. I think that's it. Well, great to hang out with you. God bless you. And hope to see you next week or so. All right. All right. We'll see you. Bye. You've been watching or listening to 7 Minute Security, a weekly podcast focused on pen testing, blue teaming, and building a career in security. For more episodes like this, visit 7ms.us. And for information about our consulting services, visit 7minsec.com.